Well, hi there. So in this video, we're going to learn the most important concept in all of microeconomics, which is how firms profit maximize. It's really probably the biggest reason why firms exist is to earn profit. And so what they want to often do is make the most of it. So let's get started. Okay, so the first part of this section just gives you some basic definitions of some really important terms about revenue, cost, and profit. And just as kind of a refresher, we have total revenue is just price times quantity. Right? We learned that in Unit 2 when we were talking about the total revenue test of elasticity. It's the total amount of spending that the consumers are providing into the firm. So revenue has two concepts. Here we have, again, that TR, the firm's income from selling all its units, and I actually put that here. I probably didn't need to rewrite that. But marginal revenue is the new one for us here. Remember, marginal just means additional. And so for our purposes, this is just the additional income that they get from selling one additional unit of the product. Now, off to the side, I'm going to actually write a little formula. Marginal revenue is equal to the change in total revenue divided by the change in total product. And what we're saying there is that, let's say we had one additional total product. That was our total product change. If we got, say, $10 of additional revenue, then our marginal revenue for that one unit was $10. So this is kind of the little formula for that concept. It's a derivative, right, of the total revenue function. Now we have cost. So with cost, you have total cost. We know that that's just the sum of the fixed and the variables. But we know that marginal is the additional cost of an additional unit. Now here I've written it's the spending to produce one additional unit, but you could actually calculate, and the same is true for up here with marginal revenue, you could calculate like what's the revenue for, say, moving from the first unit of product to the fifth unit of product. And that would be like, what's the marginal revenue over those 4 units? You could do that with cost as well. It could be like when you move from the 3rd unit to the 7th unit, the additional cost of those 4 units, for example, would be still the marginal cost. So just like with marginal revenue, we can also rewrite marginal cost equals the change in total cost associated with a change in total product. Now, one additional little fun fact about this, the only way that total cost ever changes, only way TC changes is via changing variable cost. And so actually, if you only know the variable cost change, you can still figure out marginal cost. And so this would also be MC is equal to the change in variable cost over the change in total product. So it's another way that you can actually shortcut your way to figuring out what that marginal cost is. Now, the reason why we care so much about marginal cost and marginal revenue is that it actually allows us to figure out how many units a firm should produce in order to maximize their profit. Now, profit is just how much is our total revenue minus our total cost. And we use the capital letter pi. That's what that letter is. It's the capital letter pi to stand in for profit. And you can write that on your exams. That's totally fine. Now, when we want to go to maximize the amount of profit that we're earning, we should produce the unit, the quantity, where marginal cost equals marginal revenue. That's the quantity where if we say we want to maximize profit, we say the quantity at where marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. Now, one caveat to that, is that if, let's say, you got to a scenario where maybe you could go from the 3rd to the 4th unit, and when you did that, the marginal cost was bigger than the marginal revenue, right? When you went to the 4th unit, but at the 3rd unit, the marginal revenue was still bigger than the marginal cost, you would want to produce only the 3rd unit. You would never want to produce a unit, right? I'm going to put this here, never produce where MC is greater than MR. So sometimes this is written, this rule is written as produce the quantity where MR is greater than or equal to MC. But actually, the closer that you can get to MR equals MC, right? The closer that you can get to that in terms of quantity without the marginal cost going over is actually where you're going to get the most profit. So let's do a quick little table and see what happens here with that. The price is given to us here is 5. And as a result of that, right, we can calculate total revenue. So we have quantity 1, this is output. So I'm going to put total product, that's our output, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and 35. And now I can calculate my marginal revenues. And I think you're going to notice something interesting about it. What's the change in revenue every time we sell an additional unit? Well, here we went 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. It is equal to the price. And so it is useful to remember also that marginal revenue is equal to the price. So we're going to put that up here now that we've discovered that. MR equals the price for these types of firms. And so we're going to kind of break that rule later on. But for right now, the marginal revenue and the price are actually the same thing. So you know that. You could have just skipped actually to the very next column. Marginal cost, the change in total cost associated with one unit. So the change is $1 with one unit. Here it's 2, here it's 3, here it's 4, here it's 5, 6, and then 15. Holy smokes, that's a really steep increase. But it's increasing, which is what we'd expect to see, right? Diminishing marginal returns makes the marginal cost rise throughout the range. Now, where's the unit where MR equals MC? 5, 5. Here it is, the fifth quantity. Let's do the math. Our profit, 25 minus 24, is positive 1. Now, some students who are eagle-eyed are going to notice that in this table, 20 minus 19 is positive 1. Now, the reason why we would actually produce the fifth unit, there's two. One is that this data set's made up, right? And that realistically, it's quite rare for you to end up with these duplicate situations. But what the firm's going to do is continually increase output until they get to the point where MR equals MC, and then they'll stop. And so they would look at this and they'd say 5 is bigger than 4, so let's go to the next one. 5 is equal to 5. That's where I'm going to stop. But then they could, if they wanted to, they could keep increasing and go, wait, we don't want to produce because 6 is bigger than 5. And if you look here, total revenue minus total cost, that's equal to 0. And so that's why we wouldn't want to produce that unit, right? We actually broke even when we produced 6 units instead of 5. If we kept going, you can actually see that you have negative profit, 35 minus 10. And here we have 0 profit, 15 minus 15, 10 minus 12 is negative 2, and 5 minus 10 is negative 5. And so we do find here at quantity 5 is where MR equals MC, and that's the most profit we can make. Now we're going to draw a quick little graph to show some of the things that we actually just kind of talked about, which I think is so cool. We're going to first draw a supply and demand graph. That's our standard market model that we've been using from the beginning of this class, supply and demand. And this price that's in this market and this quantity, right, are the whole great big market. Now a firm is operating in this market, and the quantity axis for them is a different quantity. It's a way smaller quantity than this. So like this could be in like millions, right? This market, and maybe this firm only makes a couple hundred units. But what this price that this firm is going to sell their product at is over here. That's the price that they're going to sell at. They have to sell at this price. They can't sell their units for a penny more, because if they did, somebody who wants to buy from this firm, they'd go, why do I want to buy from you? I could buy from everybody else in this market at P star. I'm not going to pay, say, P star plus $1 or P star plus a penny. Now, we also will notice what our marginal cost does, right? So we've got this price that goes across. I'm going to write that that's the marginal revenue. Our marginal cost is always inexorably rising. Now, our real marginal cost curves are often going to have a little tail hook at the beginning. And we'll come back and talk about why that is when we learn more about costs. But right here, we've got this upward sloping marginal cost line. And this quantity here, Q, is our QF. That's the number of units, that's the number of units that this firm should produce, because that's actually the amount where they profit maximize, profit maximum. So this is kind of our very first toe dip into drawing firm graphs. In the next couple of units, the next couple of topics, we're going to learn a lot more about them, but that's where we're going to leave off with revenue and profit. I'll see you next time.